This is NBC6 News at 5.
Amid the destruction, the complete devastation, there are stories of survival in the wake of Saturday's massive earthquake which shook South Asia. Entire villages have been reduced to rubble.
And there are fears that an entire generation will be wiped out as most of the victims are children. Many in the towns along the Pakistan-India border flattened, their lives ruined. The death toll now stands at 30,000 and the number could go higher.
NBC6's Patricia Andreu is here with the latest.
Well, Pakistani officials say it'll take a mammoth effort to recover from this natural disaster. But tonight, there are assurances from around the world that help is on the way. Small signs of life and a sign the search efforts after Saturday's massive quake must continue. Residents in northwest Pakistan used their bare hands to free 2 girls trapped in a collapsed school. One man said he knows children and adults are alive because he hears them. Okay. And late today, British rescuers pulled this 20-year-old man to safety after he was buried in debris for 54 hours. But time is running out. Conditions are increasingly dire in the worst affected areas, where entire villages have been reduced to rubble. On both sides of the border, survivors are finding it hard to stay alive. Food and water shortages are now becoming critical. So the Pakistani government is continuing its appeal for more aid. It has already received pledges of some $200 million, $50 million of that from the United States. And it's also asking for more helicopters. It has 35 of its own. The U.S. also sent 8 more today.
The U.S. military and the U.S. government stands ready to respond. And that's what this shows today, is that we're here to respond and help out a trusted ally in the war on terror.
In this great time of need, Pakistan is even accepting aid from rival India. Also of great importance to the U.S., whether Osama bin Laden was affected at all by the earthquake. Bin Laden is thought to be in hiding in the rugged terrain along Pakistan's border with Afghanistan. But officials say right now there's no evidence he's been injured or killed. Julia.
Patricia, thank you. And stay with NBC6 for continuing coverage of the Pakistan earthquake. You can also log on to our website, NBC6.net, where you can follow the latest developments online, watch video clips, and learn how to donate to help the victims.
A family outing to celebrate the Columbus Day holiday ends abruptly when a little boy is pulled from a South Florida lake, and now doctors are fighting to keep him alive. Anna Cuervo's live at Parkway Regional Medical Center with the very latest. Anna?
Michael, an entire family was about to spend this holiday picnicking by the water at Oleta River State Park when the youngest member of the family nearly drowned. That little boy, who will turn 3 on November 11th, is now here at Parkway Regional Hospital in serious condition. Now, Jose Antonio Mayen arrived by ambulance here at Parkway at about 1 o'clock this afternoon, his mother by his side. He was brought here after being pulled out of the water by an older girl, one of the many children that was with the family. The adults tell us shortly after they arrived and began setting up their food and supplies in the beach area, the children walked away to get into the water. Little Jose Antonio, or Toñito as they call him, followed his older brothers. His parents and grandmother did not even realize he was gone when after just a few minutes, one of the little girls in the water noticed something was terribly wrong.
He was floating, and then I told her, look, your brother, but I thought he knew how to swim. So I'm like, oh, look. But then when I saw him seriously, I'm like, I just grabbed him and I got my little sister because I was just with my sister and I was taking care of her. But I thought the baby was with his mom. But then I got so scared, so I grabbed him and he was like throwing bubbles and he was like a little bit dead, My friend here had got him and then this man took him, and then he started pushing his stomach and trying to make him breathe, and then he started vomiting and stuff.
That was the first good sign. Now, we just spoke with the father over the phone a little while ago, and he tells us his son is conscious and is talking, is breathing on his own, even though a lot of water did get into his lungs. The family says they are very fortunate that man saw what was happening and knew CPR. For now, live in Northwest Miami-Dade, Ana Cuervo, NBC6.
Losing strength and status, Hurricane Vince is now a tropical storm.
Still, the storm helped set a record. Its formation makes the 2005 season the second busiest on record. Meteorologist Ryan Phillips is here now with the latest. Ryan?
Back in 1933, we had 21 named storms, and now we're through the V. We've got one more to go. That's Wilma. Oh, certainly history will tell you we'll likely get that far, and then after that we go to the Greek alphabet. How about that, folks? 20 named storms already this season, 11 of those hurricanes, and it's hidden behind there, but we've had 5 major hurricanes so far this season. Of course, we've got to go till November 30th to get through. Now, our most recent storm, of course, is Tropical Storm Vince, but we're here in the eastern Atlantic. Maximum winds with this system, and it's weakening quick. Around 40 miles an hour. It's moving off to the east-northeast at 25. It's about 170 miles to the southwest of Portugal, and it's moving in a hurry, and it'll make landfall as we progress through the late evening hours tonight and into the early morning hours. Of course, this 2 a.m. Tuesday is set on Eastern time. It'll quickly dissipate as it moves inland, and we'll be finished with the 20th storm. We've got to keep in mind, normally this time of year, we look to the northwest Caribbean, southeastern Gulf of Mexico, and the western Atlantic. In just a few minutes, we'll take a look out there and see if there's anything brewing. Also, we'll talk about a hot 6-day forecast. More on that in just a few minutes. Right now, back to Julia.
Ryan, thanks. Now, some fast facts on the storm season. Vince is the 11th hurricane of 2005 and our 20th named storm. Only one other Atlantic season had more tropical storms and hurricanes since record-keeping began in 1851, and that was in 1933 when there were 21 storms. The most hurricanes to form in a single season were 12 in 1969. Hurricane season ends November 30th. And you can track Tropical Storm Vince and the rest of the season's storm activity on our website, NBC6.net. You can access the live Weather Plus Doppler along with our 2005 Hurricane Guide. And still ahead in this hour, an investigation into hurricane funding. Find out if money problems are impacting storm research at the National Hurricane Center.
Investigators make a deadly discovery after finding the body of a man inside his Miami apartment. That discovery made late last night after friends of the victim became concerned for his safety. Ed Odell picks up the story from there.
The Miami police homicide investigation was still underway in Joel Denson's Miami apartment. It was a concerned relative who first sounded the alarm.
From what we're being told, he does have a family member. I was told a sister who speaks to him daily, and that was the reason that there was some alarm because she hadn't spoken to him that day.
Neighbors were the first to knock on the door and get no response. Police followed, pushing their way into the 40-year-old's apartment near 7th Avenue and Northwest 56th Street. They found him dead inside.
Well, it's kind of like frightening, you know what I'm saying? Because we right upstairs.
Police searched for clues through the early morning hours as neighbors awoke, shocked to find their building a part of the crime scene.
To find out that something happened to the guy downstairs, it's kind of like real heartfelt. So we give our sympathy to his family and stuff like that. But we really don't know what happened.
Denson's 2000 BMW was missing from the parking lot. Police found it later about 50 blocks away. Someone was driving it, but the connection is unclear.
We're interviewing the person that was inside of that car because we don't know why he had the victim's vehicle.
Joel Denson has a relatively minor arrest record that includes at least one drug bust. In Miami, Ed Odell, NBC6.
Biscayne Boulevard in Aventura is back open tonight after construction workers accidentally cut open a gas line this morning. No one was injured, but as a precaution, police shut down the busy roadway between 213th Street and 207th Street for several hours while that damage was repaired. A similar situation played out in Tamarack today. That's where a liquid propane leak next to a canal forced the closure of Southgate Boulevard between Pine Island Road and Nob Hill Road. The leak was capped and no one was injured.
The New Orleans Police Department is under fire again, this time for an incident this past weekend involving an attack on a 64-year-old man. A news crew caught the whole thing on tape, and Jay Gray has more from New Orleans.
It was a violent attack on Bourbon Street. 3 men beating 64-year-old Robert Davis, leaving him battered and bloody on the sidewalk in the French Quarter, while one of them turned his rage on a television producer whose camera caught everything on tape. All 3 involved in the incident were New Orleans police. Like most everything here right now, the court system in New Orleans is makeshift at best. But officers Robert Evangeliste, Lance Schilling, and Stuart Smith did appear before a judge today, all charged with assault.
Plead not guilty, and we have a trial set up in the future.
We shouldn't rush to judgment.
New Orleans Police Union President Dave Benelli points out the officers were trying to arrest Davis on charges of public intoxication, assault, and public intimidation, and that before the cameras were rolling, police tried to use pepper spray on the suspect. They say, though, that had no effect.
You see one angle of one small instance of a larger situation.
But critics of the New Orleans Police Department say that's just the point, that the big picture shows a department out of control and officers that have bent or broken the rules all too often. Chief Eddie Compass has resigned after allegations of severe misconduct by officers. Dozens have been accused of looting at the height of the storm, but at this point, no one seems to be talking about any of the accusations. With the rebuilding process only just beginning, there is a very real concern here whether the New Orleans Police Department will be up to the task or if those sworn to protect and serve have already been pushed past their limits. In New Orleans, Jay Gray, NBC6.
And for more on this story, please log on to NBC6.net. There you will find video of the incident. Just look under National Headlines.
Well, basketball returns to the AAA tonight. The Miami Heat and the San Antonio Spurs are set to hit the hardwood in just a couple of hours to raise money for the victims of Hurricane Katrina. Adam Cooperstein joins us live from the American Airlines Arena with a preview. Hi, Adam.
Hey, Julia. You know, we don't usually get so excited about an exhibition basketball game, but there are so many reasons to get excited about this one. First of all, like you said, it's for charity. All proceeds from tonight's game against the world champion Spurs are going to the Hurricane Katrina relief effort through the American Red Cross. Secondly, this is like an all-star team now. All the moves the Heat made in the offseason, 5 all-stars on the squad. Shaq's already there, Dwayne Wade, of course, and you add Antoine Walker, Jason Williams, Gary Payton, a lot of names that people know, big names, and it's going to be exciting to see them all together for the first time on the hardwood tonight. But this exhibition game, while it is good for the team because they're anxious to get started, you don't know how much of an accurate impression we're going to get tonight. But more importantly, as the players talked about and coach talked about, it's for a good cause.
It's absolutely phenomenal that, our ownership and management, I think, decided to do this, and for the Spurs also.
You know, everybody has done their own individual things, but to do something as a team means a lot to us because that's why we look at ourselves as a unit. So to come out here as a unit and do it in front of our home fans and with the world champions is going to be a great cause.
To be able to help people anywhere but right here in our country and so close to us in New Orleans, obviously it's a great cause and it's going to generate a lot of money. And for the teams to put it together on such short notice, I think the management of both teams deserves a lot of credit.
Really is pretty impressive. They got this thing together right away, right immediately after Hurricane Katrina happened. The Heat announced this game against the world champion Spurs. It's going to be exciting. The Heat, 18 players on the roster, and Coach Van Gundy said every single one of them is going to play tonight. So come on out, see the stars, see some of the guys you haven't seen before, and more importantly, you get to do it for a good cause. Right now, not a lot going on. They're kind of setting up. You see the dance team behind me getting ready, but we'll be back with you at 6 o'clock, and hopefully things will be starting to happen, and we'll have a live update for you here from the American Airlines Arena. I'm Adam Cooperstein. Back to you.
What a splendid day, Columbus Day. Many of you off, some of you had to work. Coco Cam here, looking back down towards downtown Miami. Where's the cloud cover? Not a whole lot going on out there. Lots of sunshine today, very warm temperatures, and hardly any rain to speak of. Weather Plus Doppler radar showers few and far between. Few returns up there across Palm Beach County and maybe a slight shower or two out across Broward County. That's about it. The bottom line, a dry evening ahead and a wonderful forecast ahead for the next few days. Our highs today up to 90, morning low at 80. Normally we're right around 86 and 73, not quite record breaking, but certainly above average. And you can certainly feel the heat when you head outside. We're down to 86 now. The sea breeze has kicked in Lauderdale as well as Miami. It's 84 in Key West, 89 Miccosukee, 87 up in Tampa. Hey, nice to see not a whole lot going on here across the tropics there as we head out towards the Bahamas, down to Cuba. Not a whole lot of activity, even across the Gulf of Mexico and Northwest Caribbean. All is quiet. The Eastern Caribbean, though, a different story. And as we head down towards Hispaniola and Puerto Rico, there's some rain showers in the mix here, but a lot of upper-level wind shear. And so nothing will develop over the course of the next few days, even though we'll see a lot of rain, a lot of thunderstorm activity. The upper-level wind pattern certainly not conducive to any type of tropical development. This big swirl here looks pretty impressive, doesn't it? That was subtropical depression number 22, which formed earlier in the weekend, but quickly dissipated as well. It was born and died all in the same day on Saturday. This is just a mid-level low pressure system, and there's no surface reflection there. So nothing to be too concerned about. Big area of high pressure in the upper levels of the atmosphere across the Gulf of Mexico will stay in control of our weather here for the next few days. A lot of sunshine. Afternoon highs well above average, we'll say right around 90 degrees. And right along the beaches, we'll have a northeasterly wind right around 10 miles an hour or so. So you'll catch a cooler breeze if you're right on the coast. But limited rain chances to guide you through much of the upcoming work week. Your lows tonight right around 78 as temperatures fall through the 80s. We shouldn't see any rain, just a few clouds in the mix. And then for your Tuesday, looking good, 90 degrees for the afternoon high. We'll call it hot, and just a few more clouds building in through the afternoon hours. Boaters, northeast winds at around 10 knots, seas at around 2 feet. The bay and inland waters, a light chop. Check out the 6-day forecast, up to 90 tomorrow, 90 on Wednesday as well, and maybe a few more showers in the mix for Thursday and Friday. That's your weather. Let's get a check on the roadways now with Erica.
Well, good afternoon. Taking a look at, this is I-95 at Cypress Creek Road. As you can see, traffic is flowing actually quite well in the northbound side, that's to your left, from about the area of Oakland Park Boulevard all the way up through Atlantic Boulevard. However, there is a flipped over vehicle on Sample Road right before you get to I-95, causing some minor slowdowns. Now, if we head to the Eastern Financial Cam at I-75 at Miramar Parkway, getting word of an accident. If you tilt down just a bit, you see I-75, and there is a flipped over vehicle off to the right, I-75 southbound, right around 138th Street. It is off to the right shoulder. And as you can see right here at Miramar Parkway, no slowdowns behind this whatsoever. Now, if you take a look at 79th Street and I-95 in Miami-Dade County, I-95 is normally bumper to bumper at this point. But you know what? It is actually a ghost town out there coming out of downtown Miami up to the Golden Glades. But getting word of a serious injury accident. This is the Julia Tuttle 195 eastbound after Biscayne Boulevard, causing slowdowns. I'm Erica Rodriguez with your NBC6 traffic.
Well, for years, pediatricians have urged parents to put sleeping babies on their backs to lower the risk of sudden infant death syndrome. Today, the American Academy of Pediatrics is announcing new recommendations. Health Connection reporter Diana Gonzalez tells us how pacifiers can offer protection against SIDS.
The American Academy of Pediatrics now says pacifiers at nap time and bedtime may help keep a baby's airways open and change sleep patterns, reducing the risk of sudden infant death syndrome.
Now that there are 6 studies showing this, we were convinced that there is enough evidence and that the public clearly should know about it.
Dentists say pacifiers in the first year won't hinder the development of babies' teeth. And there are other new recommendations. Bed sharing is not recommended, but room sharing is. Studies found benefits keeping baby in crib near the parent's bed, but not in it. New mom Virginia Coyne, who works at NBC, says it makes sense.
It's probably because your instinct is to check on the baby. You know, like I said, every couple of hours, if I don't hear her make a noise, I wake up and I shake her and I touch her hand and I put my finger under her nose just to make sure that she's okay.
And health experts continue to stress the importance of placing babies on their backs, which not all new moms are doing.
A young mother can take a baby home and do what she's seen in the hospital, but then have her mother say, oh, that's not right. The baby should be on his stomach.
SIDS cases have dropped 50% since the Back to Sleep campaign started in 1992. Diana Gonzalez, NBC6.
Adding fish to your diet just once a week could help protect your mind. A new study finds people age 65 and older who ate fish once a week had a 10% slower rate of mental decline than people who ate fish less often. Fish is high in omega-3 fatty acids, which have been shown to be important to brain functioning. A simple eye exam may be able to predict whether you're at risk for a stroke. According to researchers, patients who had retinopathy or damaged blood vessels in the back of the eye were 70% more likely to have a stroke than those without that disease. Researchers say the blood vessels in the back of your eye are similar to those in the brain that are affected by stroke. However, they stress more studies on this research are needed.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back.
Live from our NBC6 studios, you're watching the NBC6 News at 5.
It all began with a suspicious bulge in the belly of this python. Now, animal control officials say they know what's inside.
Unfortunately for one South Florida family, the answer has a connection to the case of a missing pet. Hank Tester is live in West Miami-Dade with all the details. Hank?
Well, here's the culprit snake, and if you feel right here, this big bulge right there, that's the cat that's missing, and x-rays prove it. Let's take a look. The X-ray pretty much solves the mystery of the whereabouts of Francis the cat. The X-ray taken on this python, brought to the Dadeland Animal Hospital.
The skull didn't come out in this picture, so I'd have to take another shot in order to get the skull of the animal. But by looking at the feet, these are the feet of a cat.
Francis the cat, a Siamese, went missing, North Miami-Dade County. The cat's owner called her son, who found the python. He called 911. The Miami-Dade Fire Rescue Anti-Venom Squad arrived, noticed a big bulge in the snake's belly. The cat's owner devastated. But did the snake really grab the cat? Apparently it did. Listen.
At least we get 2 to 3 birds here a week that get attacked by cats. They either get killed, mauled, baby possums. Cats kill everything. It was one of those few instances where the tables were turned and something killed the cat and swallowed it.
It's the latest incident involving pythons. Most recently, a python and gator found dead, together in the Everglades. Gator versus python. No winner. Animal Control and the Anti-Venom Unit get calls about pythons 3 to 4 calls a year, which does not surprise Metro Zoo's Ron McGill.
They can be anywhere, Hank. That's the problem. These animals are so adaptable. They can adapt to anything except for extreme cold. And they don't discriminate. You know, it could be a possum, it could be a raccoon, or it could be a dog or a cat. This is all non-native exotic animals that are going into an environment and are causing an imbalance in that environment.
Oh, what's really interesting about this animal that likely he's probably a pet that was real small when he was purchased and now he's grown up, pet owner got rid of him, or there's also the possibility that this could be the son or daughter of one of those pets because, according to Ron McGill, they're reproducing out there. And what else is out there you might want to know about? I'll have that for you tonight at 6. Reporting live, Hank Tester, NBC 6. Back to you.
That's kind of a creepy thought. Thanks, Hank. Well, another vicious attack on an animal, this one happening in the Tampa area. Gabriel Rivero says a gator devoured her dog, and she has the tape to prove it. She brought out her camera after neighbors said their dog was killed by a gator. Well, a short time after starting to roll tape, Riveros was shocked to catch the gator eating her Cocker Spaniel.
A fire official in Putnam County is dead after being bitten by a diamondback rattlesnake. Authorities say 54-year-old Joe Guidry thought he had killed the 5-foot snake he shot in a neighbor's yard last week. However, when he reached out to grab the reptile, it bit him on his right hand. Guidry was given 18 vials of anti-venom, but he died days later.
High school football players struck by a bolt of lightning on the field. Coming up at 6, our first chance to hear the desperate calls for help. We are still in the middle of this heavy hurricane season. Now forecasters are waiting for Wilma and possibly more. But what does the future of tracking the tropics hold? Up next, though, some call it a miracle pill. Is it a weight loss breakthrough or just a dangerous diet? What we found out for you is next at 5. We're coming right back.
Have you discovered NBC Monday? Starting with Surface. Critics agree it's never too late to catch an excellent series.
It's right under my feet.
Then, a hot new Las Vegas with the Pussycat Dolls and a 60-year-old murder mystery. Finally on Medium, a vision causing her to sleepwalk is the only way to save a child.
Can you help me?
All new Surface, Vegas, and Medium. Monday on NBC.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Palmetto Ford. We know trucks. Palmetto Ford. Give us a try before you buy. 305-592-FORD. Live from our NBC 6 studios, you're watching the NBC 6 News at 5.
Trapped inside a mobile home by fire, one South Florida teen had to be rescued.
Let's get you right out to the scene where Martha Sagowski is live in Hallandale Beach. Martha?
Well, the call came in at 1:45 to Hallandale Beach Fire Rescue. What the call was, a structure on fire at the Sunnydale Mobile Home Park. This is what they found when they got here. That trailer completely engulfed in flames. Also, when EMS arrived, they found 2 teenagers helping a 17-year-old out of that burning trailer. We can tell you that teen was literally burned head to toe, over 90% of his body. That teen was flown to JMH, the burn center there in Miami. The other teens received minor burns in this incident. What is unclear at this point is how that fire started in the trailer. Listen as one teen describes what happened.
So I took off my shirt and I pull them out constantly. So I lift them up and I dragged them out of the trailer. And then my other friend had to help me. Drag him out the trailer, you got his face burned, trying to help him.
Back out here live, you can see that the trailer is completely destroyed. The fire marshal has been here investigating the scene. Officials remain on the scene right now. This whole entire area of the street is blocked off with this yellow tape, as you see. We have learned, though, that we're learning gasoline was apparently stored in this trailer. Again, though, unclear if that played a role in this fire. A lot of questions, though, officials have, they say, for those two teens who pulled out that one teen in this fire. Reporting live in Hallandale Beach, I'm Martha Sagowski, NBC 6.
They promise to help you shed several pounds in a month, but now some doctors are warning popular diet pills could prove deadly.
The over-the-counter pills claim to be all natural, but lab tests found they actually contain illegal amphetamines. Jaylene Rodriguez joins us now with more. Jaylene?
Well, they are known as the Brazilian pills. Here they are. You could purchase them without a prescription. Some contain a drug that speeds up your metabolism and helps you burn calories. Some doctors say you could lose more than just pounds. Carolina Ciervo discovered what she calls a miracle weight loss system. It's known as the Brazilian diet pills. Here she is back in July.
Sido increíble.
Ciervo says she lost 60 pounds in only 4 months. Although the label says the pills are all natural, there are some variations that contain illegal amphetamines. At least 4 unsuspecting women taking the diet pills failed pre-employment drug tests at Baptist Health South Florida. Thomas Moore, Corporate Director of Employment Health Services, says the women were very surprised. When did you realize that this was a common thread among these 4 women?
About the third employee or pre-employment physical that we did within a month.
Moore sent the pills the women were taking to a lab to be analyzed.
In most of them, it was amphetamines. We also found a drug called diazepam, which is a Valium or Librium.
The pills may be life-threatening. A spokesperson with Kendall Regional Medical Center confirmed to NBC6 today 2 women were admitted into the hospital's critical care unit with dangerous blood sugar levels. The women were both taking those Brazilian pills. Doctors have not confirmed the pills caused the women's health problems, but suspect they may have. The women survived. Despite the potential dangers, the pills could still be purchased on the internet for up to $200 for a month's supply. Ciervo is happy with the results so far and has no plans to stop taking the pills.
It seems too good to be true. It's probably, the wrong thing to take.
And the pills could elevate your blood pressure to a very dangerous level. There's also a possibility some patients could become addicted. Now, there are some variations of the Brazilian pills that are not considered dangerous, but doctors warn based on the label, it is too difficult to tell which ones are dangerous and which ones are not. Live in the newsroom, Jaylene Rodriguez, NBC6.
A top Lithuanian tennis player attending school in South Florida died in a traffic accident over the weekend. Avaris Balzekis and a fellow Lynn University student were pushing a stalled car when a pickup truck plowed into them. The 23-year-old died. The other victim is in good condition. No charges have been filed. Balzekis was a member of the Lithuanian national team who had played at the junior tournaments at Wimbledon and the Australian and French Opens.
Now we turn our focus to an Atlantic hurricane season like virtually no other, one that has run through the alphabet this year, leaving history and, with Katrina, untold heartache in its path. Now, with Vince out of the way in the Atlantic, we wait to see if Wilma will rise out of the ocean. And while we wait, hurricane experts complain their critical work is being shortchanged. Hurricane Dennis piled a 12-foot storm surge onto Florida's eastern panhandle this past summer, and there were complaints residents were unprepared. Florida State University meteorology professor Jim O'Brien blames outdated equipment and a lack of investment in critical research by the federal government.
There's no technical barrier at all to doing storm surge correct. Unfortunately, the model that's being used at the Hurricane Forecast Center is very old and needs to be replaced with modern ideas.
Forecasting experts complain there have been only minimal increases in the hurricane budget at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration over the past 20 years. Former employees say old computers and staffing shortages mean less life-saving research. The one big improvement is with hurricane track forecasting.
But our ability to forecast storms that rapidly intensify and grow in size, as well as those that may weaken before they hit a coast, could mean the difference between not moving people soon enough or far enough and a major threat.
The bottom line, though, is that much more is needed, and experts say small investments now can save lives and billions of dollars in property damage.
There's actually been some cost-benefit analysis work done on how much it costs to improve the forecast and that sort of thing, and the payoff is tremendous.
Experts, like all of us, would give anything to not have had such a very busy Atlantic storm season. But given the fact that it is now a reality, they hope it will jumpstart Congress into focusing on and financing the technical and research needs that will help make the future safer for all of us.
In the meantime, I'm just marking off the days until we get to November 30th on the calendar.
Ryan Phillips, meteorologist here, telling me, Ryan, that we may be almost certainly headed for the Greek alphabet here before this is all over.
Yeah, climatology would tell you that, and also just a gut feeling. Folks, I mean, we still have to get through November 30th. What's awkward right now, I guess I would say, for this storm, Vince, is that it's in the eastern Atlantic. This time of year, we're looking into the western Atlantic, the Caribbean, and maybe sometimes into the southeastern Gulf of Mexico for the development. So kind of odd to see this system. Tropical storm Vince now 170 miles or so southwest of Portugal. It'll go inbound into southern Portugal as we get into the overnight hours for us tomorrow, which will be early Wednesday morning for them, but then it will quickly dissipate into a remnant low. Just some strong winds and some rains with that system. So at least not a true blow to the coastline there in Portugal. Well, let's come back closer to home. There's no imminent development for any type of systems out there. There's a lot of upper level wind shear. We do have what's left of subtropical depression number 2, which formed on Saturday. Notice a lot of clouds here across the southeastern Caribbean, down toward Hispaniola, and even out towards the Antilles. A lot of thunderstorm development, a lot of showers around, but the upper level wind pattern just not conducive to anything to fire up. Fairly quiet here across the Bahamas and fairly quiet here across Florida and western Cuba and even into the Gulf of Mexico. Things are clear there. Boy, what a splendid day outside in the Eastern Financial Cam. We have had a great holiday. Again, today, Columbus Day. Highs generally into the lower 90s today. Hardly any clouds out there. It's just been a spectacular day. And the heat, it'll stick around here for the next few days. With a very stable atmosphere, not a whole lot going on. The radar is fairly quiet. Our forecast is quiet as well. We'll call it warm. 86 for your evening temperature. 82 at midnight, 78 for the overnight low, which is still a little bit above average. Now, as we get into tomorrow, more of the same. Everyone back in school tomorrow, 78 and sunny skies with just a few clouds in the mix first thing in the morning. Then through the afternoon hours, we'll see a little bit of cloud cover, and you never say never. We could see maybe a stray shower, just a quick sprinkle. That's about it. Otherwise, we're up to 90 again, 86 for the evening temperature with warm conditions. So really limited rain chances over the course of the next few days. Good boating weather, good beach weather as well. The winds will come in offshore, or onshore rather, we'll call it northeasterly at 10 knots, seas only at about 2 feet, the bay and inland waters a light chop. Not a whole lot to talk about in that 6-day, 90 for the next few afternoons, hot conditions, limited chances for some rain, maybe an isolated shower or two, but with all this dry, stable air locked on top of us across the Gulf of Mexico and the Florida Peninsula, thunderstorm chances will be fairly limited, maybe a better chance for some rain by the time we get to the weekend. That's Check of Your Weather. Let's get to the roadways now with Erica Rodriguez.
Thank you very much. Take a look here at 595 Pine Island Road. Much lighter than normal commute, all thanks due to the Columbus Day 4-day, 3-day weekend. Traffic is actually lighter than normal from 441 out to University Drive. One fender bender on the Turnpike southbound before you get to 595. Once you get on I-95, this is I-95 at Griffin Road. You can see a little bit further to the end of this picture. You do have a little bit of slowdown on I-95 southbound as you get ready to exit around Hollywood Boulevard in Miami-Dade County. I-95 looks great out of downtown Miami up to the Golden Glades. Just some minor slowdowns as you get into the Golden Glades. And a couple center lanes have been blocked due to a wreck on the Julia Tuttle westbound right as you come off of Alton Road. It's now being pushed off to the shoulder and only have about a mile of slowdowns behind it. I'm Erica Rodriguez with your NBC6 traffic.
Not in our port. That's the greeting Greenpeace got from 2 major South Florida cities. New at 6, why was the environmental organization ship kept in international waters? We'll show you what we uncovered. But first up, the latest out of the flood-ravaged Northeast as the search for victims starts there. Lots of pillows, but no rest here. We're taking you to the scene of a mega pillow fight. And is it a big science project or a sign of things to come? We're in the nation's capital for the solar decathlon. You're watching the NBC6 News at 5. Stay with us.
NBC6 Weather Plus Doppler Radar is brought to you by the Miccosukee Tribe of Indians of Florida. NBC6 News is brought to you in part by Washington Mutual.
Have you discovered NBC Monday? Starting with Surface, critics agree it's never too late to catch an excellent series.
It's right on your way.
Then, a hot new Las Vegas with the Pussycat Dolls and a 60-year-old murder mystery. Finally on Medium, a vision causing her to sleepwalk is the only way to save a child.
Can you help me?
All new Surface, Vegas, and Medium, tonight on NBC.
Spend your mornings with NBC 6, starting with South Florida today.
We want you to be a part of it.
We're on the edge of our seats.
Then enjoy some quality time with Martha on her new daily show.
I love creative people, don't you?
And at noon, don't miss the next evolution in news. NewsNet, a new 30-minute newscast live on the web, geared toward people at the office and on the go.
We're going to see you for a noon live broadcast.
It all starts weekday mornings at 10 on NBC 6.
Accelerate your dreams at Bruce Rossmeyer's Harley-Davidson in Fort Lauderdale or Pompano.
Live from our NBC 6 studios, you're watching the NBC 6 News at 5.
Gas prices have been slowly creeping back up again. A new survey shows retail prices rose about 10 cents a gallon during the past 2 weeks alone. The average for all three grades rose to $2.93 a gallon. The Lundberg survey blames Gulf Coast refineries idled by Hurricane Rita as the cost for the cost hike. In Fort Lauderdale, the average is $2.95 a gallon for regular, $2.97 a gallon for regular in Miami. And statewide, the average is $2.96 a gallon. Lundberg says shifting supply and demand along with dipping crude oil prices should soon help drive those prices down a bit.
And with the nation's energy prices at an all-time high, or the highest we've seen in several years, solar power is now taking center stage on the nation's capital. 18 universities, in fact, are competing to build the home of tomorrow, actually powered by the sun. NBC6's Brian Moore has the story.
They're solar-powered and self-sufficient, the homes of the future designed by the architects of tomorrow. 18 universities from the United States, Canada, Spain, and Puerto Rico are competing in the solar decathlon on the National Mall in Washington. The first round of judging was an unexpected test because it took place in the middle of a rainstorm.
And they all were working just fine because they had battery systems that had been collecting solar rays over the last few days and turning them into electricity.
Solar panels like these generate plenty of power to run appliances and all the other essentials you'd expect in your home. One of the top teams is from the New York Institute of Technology. Everything in this home is environmentally friendly, down to the couch.
This couch is made out of a wheat board, and it has a solar panel on the back, which powers fans.
In addition to solar panels, this home is powered by a hydrogen generator, a prototype that costs $70,000.
You're paying for all your power up front, okay, but there are no bills going forward.
Much of the technology in these homes of the future is already available today. The Cornell University students who designed this home estimate they could save about half every year on energy costs. But will average Americans really buy into solar power?
They are nice and they're energy efficient, and too bad they don't use more of this stuff.
Definitely something we need to take a close look at.
Solar power. These students say it has a bright future. In Washington, Brian Moore, NBC6.
Ahead, a unique trial with a unique defense. All new at 6. We'll take you inside the courtroom where one student says bullying made him commit murder. We're live on that report. And a young swimmer breaks a record, all for a very good cause, and all of it caught on camera for you. Meanwhile, this has to be some sort of record. We'll tell you where it is winter, even though it's only October. Plus,
from the snow to the beaches where there's hardly any rain, just a few showers on Weather Plus Doppler radar in our inland locations out towards the Glades. A hot forecast to tell you about. Stick around. The news continues right after this.
I'm Brian Williams. Coming up tonight, the battle over wind and water. Homeowners and insurance companies are squaring off after Katrina. And with more storms on the way, is your insurance enough to cover your needs? That's tonight on NBC Nightly News.
Closed captioning on NBC6, brought to you by City Furniture, now offering same-day delivery 7 days a week.
And we have some breaking news out of Miramar this afternoon. You are looking live from Everglades High School. This is what we're hearing from police. 2 teens are now in the hospital. Here's what happened. Those 2 teenagers apparently went to pick up a relative at Everglades High School in Miramar. One of the teens in the car got out of that vehicle to go search for his cousin. At that point, 4 other suspects pulled up in another car, approached one of the teens and beat that teen so severely that he needed to go to the hospital. When the other kid got out of the car to check what was happening, those suspects then stabbed that teenager. Both of the injured teenagers then drove themselves, injuries and all, to the hospital for treatment. We're told that their injuries are not life-threatening, but at this point, as you could imagine, police are now searching for those 4 suspects. Again, both those 2 teens in the hospital. Search and recovery efforts continue in southwestern New Hampshire after massive flooding this weekend. In some areas, floodwaters washed away homes and damaged roads and bridges. So far, 4 deaths have been reported. 500 National Guard members are now headed to the area to help out in that effort.
Only October, but Colorado being slammed with snow. Forecasters say as much as 12 inches fell in Denver and 18 inches in the ski town of Breckenridge. Downed power lines and trees reported all over the place. Dozens of schools and businesses in outlying communities had to be closed today.
Well, I guess we don't have to worry
Different
about
version of
anything
Columbus
like
Day,
that.
huh?
You know, I'm sure they weren't expecting summer this early, and we're kind of wanting ours to hurry up and scoot on out.
What a weather year it's been. Meteorologist Ryan Phillips here with a look at our forecast.
Yeah, it was just in the low 80s a few days ago. Now we've got a whale of a storm developing here across the Front Range of Colorado. Again, Michael just told you already at ski resort, some 12 to 18 inches of snow up there. Otherwise, drying out as we get into the Great Lakes in the Northeast after 3 to 6 inches of rain and even some higher amounts down towards the Philly metro area through the weekend. But now a quieter weather pattern unfolding. What about us? Well, Weather Plus Doppler radar showing just a few isolated showers in the mix, and these are well off to our west, western Broward, southwestern Palm Beach County. These showers really not impacting anybody but the alligators out there. Right along the metro locations and along the coast, it is a very quiet night, mostly clear skies, and a fairly warm evening as well. We've got a quiet weather pattern to talk about over the course of the next few days. Visible satellite picture showing you those northeasterly and easterly winds pushing in here as we got through the afternoon hours. And normally when that happens, that helps to kick off showers and thunderstorms with the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere just so stable, just a few passing clouds and maybe 1 or 2 isolated showers, and that's about it. And that's the weather pattern that we're going to be locked into for the next few days. 85 in Palm Beach, 86 in Lauderdale, as well as Miami. It's 84 in Key West. A little bit warmer through the inland areas with no sea breeze to come in and cool you down. 89 in Miccosukee. Our afternoon high today was 90, well above average. Morning low, a warm 80 degrees. Normally we're down into the 70s. October is such a nice time of year down here, but also the transitional time. We really haven't had one big cold front push through. It could be several more days before we look at a cold front passing through the area. Big bubble of high pressure out across the Gulf, and that'll keep things fairly quiet, fairly stable. We will develop a nice northeasterly breeze for the beachgoers and the boaters. That'll lead to about 2-foot seas and a nice cool down if you're going to sit along the coast, because our highs are going to be into the lower 90s for many for the next few days. A lot of sunshine, a few clouds in the mix, but limited rain chances almost the entire week. We may see 1 or 2 showers, but nothing all that widespread. We're quiet tonight. Evening temperatures into the mid-80s, lower 80s by midnight. Just a few clouds around 78 for the overnight low. We'll send everybody back to school tomorrow, starting off with mostly sunny skies in the morning, hot through the afternoon, and a few clouds building in, and then another warm evening with temperatures back down into the mid-80s. Northeast winds for the boaters, as I told you, seas at 2 feet. 6-day forecast. Boy, this is kind of quiet. This is kind of just kind of boring compared to the last few weeks. 90 for the next few days, 89 Thursday and Friday, maybe a better chance for some rain next weekend. That's your weather. Julia, back to you.
All right, Ryan, thanks. Remember when you were a kid, you'd have friends sleep over and you'd have those crazy pillow fights? Well, you know, some people just never grow up. That is the case with students at Virginia Tech. More than 1,000 people showed up at that school for a mega pillow fight. People donated at least $1 for the opportunity to punch others with pillows. While the total number fell short of the Guinness Book record, the effort did raise $1,500 for victims of Hurricane Katrina. The school hurricane fund had already raised $50,000 in hurricane relief. So there is some method to all of that madness. Let's check in with Michael to see what we have coming up on the NBC 6 News at 6.
Thank you, Julia. And coming up in just a few moments at 6, right here on NBC 6, a teen accused of killing a fellow student says he is not guilty because he was bullied. We'll take you inside the courtroom. Plus this.
Multiple lightning strikes. I have 2 players down at Monmouth High School.
The frantic calls for help after lightning kills a high school football player, and why a Greenpeace ship was turned away from the port of Miami and how the activist eventually got to shore. That plus the latest on now tropical storm events, all coming your way next at 6. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
NBC6 Weather Plus Doppler Radar is brought to you by the Miccosukee Tribe of Indians of Florida.
Dateline Friday, a family with dark secrets. A wife married to her therapist. A husband who hypnotized his child. Now the father is dead and the mother is accused of murder. Behind closed doors, NBC Friday, 8/7 Central.
A 9-year-old boy has become the youngest person ever to swim San Francisco Bay. There he is, getting out of the water. The 4th grader swam the icy shark-fested waters this morning to set a new record, all in the name of charity. Stephanie Stanton has the story.
As his classmates and family cheered him on, 9-year-old Johnny Wilson became the youngest person ever to swim the icy waters between Alcatraz Island and the San Francisco shoreline.
Can you believe it? You did it! Oh, I love you so much.
A congratulatory hug from Dad. It took the 4th grader just over 1 hour to make the 1.4-mile swim in 62-degree water.
The beginning was the hardest because I was all cold and everything because I just got in.
2 experienced coaches swam alongside Johnny, but it wasn't without danger as he faced the risk of hypothermia and the possibility of a shark attack. Still, his coach wasn't worried. He knew there was something very special about this small swimmer.
I met Johnny about a year ago and recognized he had a great stroke technique and thought that he could potentially become a great bay swimmer.
The 9-year-old trained twice a week for months. He made the swim 2 weeks before his 10th birthday and just in time to beat the old record set 2 weeks ago by a 10-year-old girl. But it wasn't easy.
I kept on going. I'm almost there. I'm almost there.
Johnny had a greater goal. He wanted to conquer the bay to raise money for hurricane victims in the Gulf.
I have raised $30,000.
A proud moment for a little boy who made a big difference in the lives of others. Stephanie Stanton, NBC News.
This is NBC6 News at 6.